Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where I suppose in honour of the fact that it's the World Sudoku Championship starting next Monday, I thought we'd take a look at this puzzle. Now, one of the World Championships that I represented the UK in was in India, and this is the semi-final classic Sudoku that appeared at that time. Now, this semi-final was, it was a slightly odd semi-final, and there were 4 different puzzles, and it was sort of a staggered relay start for the top 8 competitors. But my notes from the time, my diary notes, suggest that the top solvers in that semi-final solved this puzzle in 2 or 3 minutes, which is very fast. Now, what we have to remember when we're looking at I suppose a Sudoku that appeared in a World Championship is that it's very unusual for these puzzles to contain extremely exotic logic, because what the organisers don't want is to make it into a guessing competition. They want the quickest solver to be established by somebody who can spot the interesting piece of logic that allows them to make progress, but they don't want that logic to be so dense that it would be more efficient to bifurcate early on. And so, without further ado, let's take a look at this puzzle and see how we would approach it. And we'll use our normal technique where, if in a box we can identify that a number can only go in 1 of 2 positions, so let's look at where a 1 can go in this 3x3 block, we'll just make little pencil marks like this to indicate that. And as I say, I'm not expecting this puzzle to be monstrously hard, but I'm expecting to think, gosh, how on earth did anyone solve it really that quickly? You can see there's a lot of given 5s here, and in fact the positions of the 5s here and this 1 pair that we found, we can write a 5 in here. It's the only place a 5 can go in this 3x3, and now there's only 1 place left the 1 can go, because our pencil marks are telling us or identifying the 2 positions. If one of those is ruled out, and this 5 ruled out the position of one of the positions of the 1, we know it must go into the other position. And that's going to let us make some more pencil marks over here. Now, what next? Okay, I can see we can place a 3, look, in this position, and immediately follow that up with pencil marks. It's going to allow us to pencil mark some 9s. This arrangement of sort of 3 digits in a row in any 3x3 block is very powerful, and you should always try and use it as quickly as possible. The 2 7s here, in fact, allow us to find this pair of 7s in the central 3x3. 9s, we can pencil mark 9s up there. Again, we've essentially got a run of 3 in this 3x3 block, so just scanning to see if we can make any more use of that. Yeah, we can place a 4 in the middle there, and a 4 here. And look at that, the interaction of this 4 and this 4 on this 3x3 block allow us to pencil mark 4s up here like this, and that's going to allow us to actually position this 4 into this position. It's the only place it can go in the 3x3 block now. Okay, a couple of 4s down there. So into here we're looking for the numbers into the 3 open positions, 1, 6 and 8. 6 here, look, so we've got that arrangement. Pencil mark the 1s down the left side. 3, 7 and 8 along the middle row in terms of what's missing. This 7 here means there's a 7 in one of those 2 positions. 7 in one of these 2 positions. Big 6 can be placed here, look. Probably should have got that earlier. And that gives us a nice 6-4 pair, look, in the top 3x3 block. Again, the interaction of this 6 and this 6. Annoyingly, I can't see a way of immediately making further use of that. I mean, we can obviously pencil mark 6 is there, but I don't see anything more. Just take a look at column 5, 6, 8 and 9 to place. Again, not seeing anything there. Let's have a look at row 1, because this is effectively 2 given digits. So the missing numbers are 3, 8 and 9. That's open. This can only be 8 or 9. This can be 3, 8 or 9. 9, 9, yes, we can place a 9, look, here. 9 in one of those two positions. This 1 interacts very nicely now on this 3 by 3 block. Allows us to pencil mark 1s into those two positions. This can no longer be a 1, so this must be a 1. Now if we look at column 2, you can see we need the numbers 3, 7 and 8. And here we have a 3 and a 7, so this here is an 8. And we have a 3, 7 pair into these two cells, but I'm going to have to remember that because it wouldn't be in accordance with what our pencil mark logic's meant to represent if we were to just fill this in. But I've just spotted something nice here. Let's look at where we can place a 7 in this block now. 7's locked into these two positions, and here we see, in my opinion, the real value of this pencil mark method, because now we can see in this 3 by 3 block that the 7's are locked into columns 1 and 2. It's in one of these two positions, we don't know which. We look at this 3 by 3 block, again the 7's have been locked in to columns 1 and 2. So whichever way we pick the real 7, if the real 7 turns out to be here, then this will be a real 7. If the real 7 is here, this will be the real 7. So we know that there can't be any 7's in this 3 by 3 block in columns 1 and 2. And therefore, we must be looking at one of these two positions for the 7 in this 3 by 3 block, and we have a 7 here. So this cell must be a 7. That allows us to place a 7 here because of our earlier pencil marks, and a 7 here. That means this is a 7 and this is a 3, which means this is a 3. So in fact this stage here, this little bit of logic on the 7's looks like it's really broken the puzzle open. You can see this is 2 3's now, as well as allowing us to pencil mark up here, also allows to place a 3 in this 3 by 3 block in this position. So that's a 3, this therefore must be a 1, this must be a 1, this must be an 8 to complete the column. And we can pencil mark 8's into those two positions. You can see this 8 here stops this being an 8, so in fact we can unwind the 8 and the 7. That gives us a 7 here, a 9 here, and a 3 here, and a 3 here. So actually it's interesting, once you find this logic on the 7's, the puzzle can be finished very, very rapidly. Which I guess is why there were some extraordinarily quick times being recorded. So you can see we need 2 and 8 to finish this block. So again, this must be the 8, this must be the 2, this is a 2 here. Can we do anything more with 2's? We probably can, but I'm not quite seeing how. What do we need? 6 and 8 into these two positions, so that also finishes itself off. Well, it would if I could point my mouse at the right place. So 8 and 6 like that. This is therefore an 8, this is an 8. Eight, 9 into here, but you can see this 8, there's going to be an 8 in this position because in this 3 by 3 block. So 8, 8, 9, 9, 9, 9. What's this going to be? A 2, I think. 2 in one of these two positions. 2 and 6 here, so that's going to resolve itself because of this 6. cell has to be a 4 or a 6, and we have a 4 here, so 6, 6, 4, like that. 4, 2, 2, 4, 3, and there we go. So something a bit different. I thought you might find it interesting to see the standard. This was the real semi-final puzzle from the World Sudoku Championship in 2008 in Goa. And as I say, I think to be competitive, you need to be knocking that puzzle off in 2 or 3 minutes. My notes, or my diary notes from the time, also remind me that there was a round of classics in this Sudoku Championship, one of the earlier rounds. So classics, just normal Sudokus like the one we've just solved. And there were 8 classic puzzles to be solved in half an hour. And the person who and the difficulty of those puzzles, I'd say, was around fiendish level of the times. So not monstrously hard, but quite difficult. And invite you to guess how quickly the first solver finished those puzzles, those 8 puzzles. The answer was in 18 minutes. So you need to be solving fiendish puzzles in just over 2 minutes, or you did at that time, in order to be competitive at world level. And if my last video is anything to go by, and the contention being that people have improved at Sudoku solving over the last 10 years, goodness knows how quick it's going to be in Prague next week. So good luck to all those involved in that. I'm sure there'll be some interesting stories. We'll report on them here. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.